Okay, so on this video, we're going to talk about spiritual cleansing, hygiene, sorry, aka spiritual baths, and why it is important to keep up with them. Now, as you set up altars, you know that a lot of times we always talk about cleansing the space and clearing out any negative energies. Well, your body is an altar as well, and the same way you cleanse your altar or your space is the same way you have to cleanse your body as well, like I said, because it is the ultimate altar in all actuality. Now, hold on. Yeah, the altars that we have, just to throw this in, the altars that we tend to look at as traditional, not when I'm talking about your body, but just a traditional, style of an altar. That's more of a focal point, but your body is the true altar. Now, moving past that, when you're talking about going out into life and walking around, we know that we physically get dirty, and the old saying, "So as above, so is below." We know that you also will get spiritually dirty. Now, this doesn't always come across through just you harboring in low vibrational areas. This could also come through just you walking and going outside or just living. Negative energy is constantly swirling and going around. You get what I'm saying? It's not standing in one place for waiting for people to pass by all the time. Energy sometimes tends to just move around and attach itself to wherever it feels it could attach itself to. Now, in my experience, the two type of negative energies that are out there is the regular stuff such as like misfortune, mishaps, um, this energy that just like I said, it never manifests into a physical person, but it just exists within the spiritual plane. Now, the second type is what we all know in the Caribbean, are and I usually refer to Jamaica, but we're gonna talk about the Caribbean is duppy. Duppy is the second energy that tend to attach itself to individuals. Now, I know that we usually understand, especially if you're on this channel, we understand that Duppy can turn people in a succubus, which we also, in my opinion, will refer to that in the Caribbean as a Jezebel spirit. It could turn people into drug addicts. It could turn people into gambling addicts. We know all those type of stories. But sometimes Duppy just want to live vicariously through you in a way that is not having those type of habits, but it may want you to live a lifestyle that it wants you to live because, like I said, it wants to still partake on the worldly manners. You get me? So when these Dupinol attach themselves to you, and they, especially if you're somebody who's into spirituality, but you're not practicing correctly and you're not practicing good spiritual hygiene, these they tend to like, in my opinion, these spiritualists more compared to somebody who's just walking around and just going through life because you're actively communicating and partaking with the spiritual realm, feeding and doing however you're feeding it, um, whether it just be feeding through giving attention and thought. You get me? They tend to like this type of people more because, like I said, it gets a more stronger attachments. It's being fed. It's getting compared to somebody who's not into that type of lifestyle. They're just waking up and going day to day. They like those too because, like I said, they know that there'll be nothing to bother them, but they're not really being fed or being noticed or anything to that nature. So they like I'm not gonna get too into that, but like I said, they like both, but in my opinion, they tend to like the spiritualists who don't really know what they're doing or don't practice spiritual hygiene, like the ones who's just coming up. Now, I know some people are gonna say, "Oh, that never happened to me." Well, it's not for everybody, but there are some people that don't practice good spiritual hygiene, or if they do, they don't do it use the right herbs or right methods to cleanse themselves properly because we have to all start somewhere. Like, and this is where this channel I really refer to for people who are doing sorcery, not so what I refer to as the uninitiated, not so much for the people who's the initiated, because the initiated usually have godparents and teachers and god siblings that are able to tell them certain things to help better them on their spiritual journey. But a lot of us who choose the uninitiated path, we tend to just go on our own. In the beginning, some of us make a lot of trips. I've done it, and I'm sure many of other people who have experience now, who probably is watching this, have done this as well. So, like I said, these are the two type of energies that I pretty much know to come across when it comes to just casually, like not anybody sending out spiritual attacks to you, but you just casually going through life. Like I said, they could dwell, especially a lot within low vibrational places, especially in the Caribbean. We'll over them. We'll overlook a speakeasy, then we can go one with spliff and drink with liquor and all a reason. But we also know that these spots tend to bring in harbor a lot of people who like to live low vibrational lifestyles. And even if you're not partaking in these things, it's the fact that they're there allows that energy to dwell there. And the more that those people come and harbor, the energy tends to just stay and realize, like, yo, you know what? This is a nice place where I want to be. They got the liquor, which they also call throughout the world, aka spirits, which people who knows about that. And they like to, and then my bon tobacco and ganja. So those are three beautiful combinations that low vibrational spirits that like to cause havoc to, like, they really like that. So if you're somebody who's especially dwelling in these places, you definitely want to cleanse more frequently than somebody who's not really going to that type of environment, if you get what I'm saying. um Depending on, like I said, depending on your lifestyle and how you move, what you do for a living, some people may be dealing with extra shit. You definitely want to cleanse more often to help you in your journey, if you get what I'm saying. And people who live in this a regular good life, always cleanse off, even if it's once a week, whatever, once a month, make sure, like I said, depending on how you feel, depending on your lifestyle, this is not a one size fit all cap. This is spirituality. Spirituality is about individuality to a certain degree, especially when it comes to healing, because we're all doing our own thing. We're all living our own life. Nobody's doing it exactly the same. So, like I said, you should know, or you should have a certain understanding of how much you should be cleansing off. So I hope this helped. If anybody need any spiritual work as we're cleansing off or anything to that nature, protection, anything, just give me a call and we're gonna get to it. We also offer readings. I definitely got if I'm not gonna be able to do a reading, my family, my cousin's definitely gonna start jumping aboard and start dealing with readings out there. And yeah, just reach out to us. We're definitely gonna get you guys going and get you guys up to par. You get me? All right. Hope to hear from you guys. Or soon to hear from you guys. Later.